Hello! This video is the installation guide for LG's innovative open-frame OLED signage. Before starting, let me introduce the core technology of this product, OLED. Why are people fascinated with OLED? Since OLED has no backlight unit and liquid crystal, OLED is unbelievably thin and greatly light compared to earlier panels. OLED's image pixels are self-lighting, making blacks truly black, which allow colors to pop. Also, OLED shows clear images from any viewing angle and has greater design flexibility. LG is utilizing OLED technology to turn the infinite future of signage into reality, with the open-frame OLED at the center of such efforts. Understanding the open-frame OLED requires the concept of radius. The degree at which the open frame is bent is represented as the unit of R, with R here meaning radius. 2000 R stands for how much a circle with radius of 2 meters is bent, whereas 1500 R means the degree that a circle with radius of 1.5 meters is bent. How much a panel is bent depends on the R value and length of the panel. The open-frame OLED can be bent up to 2000 R in long side and 1500 R in short side. It is not so hard to understand, is it? An open-frame OLED signage consists of 3 components: set, frame, and jig components. The set kit has the OLED modules, T-con boxes, and signage boxes. The frame kit has the frames to fix the OLED module, and the jig kits enable the OLED module to bend at a certain curvature. At this point, we will take a look at how to install an open-frame OLED signage. From unboxing, module check, and assembly to tiling installation. Let's start from the unboxing. Are you ready? This is the product box of Set Kit. Open the package carefully with a box cutter. Do not throw away the paper on top, as it is the notification on the matching serial number. Lift the paper pad. The signage box, T-con box, cables, and screws are in the foam package, under which is the signage module. In the box, there are various components. Shall we take a look? 2 OLED modules, 2 signage boxes, 4 signage box brackets, 2 signage box cable covers, 2 T-con boxes, 4 T-con box brackets, 2 T-con box covers, 2 T-con box cable covers, 2 pairs of 16 22-pin power cables, 2 pairs of HDMI cables, 8 pairs of FFC cables, 2 AC power cords, 2 IR sensors, M3 5.5mm screws, 2 RS232C genders, simple manuals, and 2 remote controls. Next, we'll open the frame kit box to check what's inside. Left and right side frames, top and bottom frames, 2 rigid bars, a center bar, 4 corner fixers, different types of screws, 6 module fixers. Lastly, take out the jig from the jig box. There are 4 types of jig depending on the curvature. We'll install in a landscape convex 2000 R type this time. Not too confusing, is it? Before we start, make sure you have all the above-mentioned components. Next, we have to test the OLED module before installing. 2 people are needed to take out the OLED module carefully from the set box and put it on the table, covered with a soft cloth. Attach the absorbers on the back of the module and take off the silver wrapper. Visually check for any crack on the panel. Carefully put the module on the table with the front facing the floor. We'll be connecting the module to the T-con box with this FFC cable. 4 350mm FFC cables go to the FFC cable jack on the back of the module. Make sure that the horizontal lines are invisible. Next, let's connect the module with a T-Con box. Check the 12-digit serial numbers of the OLED module and the T-Con box, and connect the remaining ends of the FFC cables to the T-Con box with the same serial number as that of the module. Connect the HDMI cable and the 16-22-pin power cables on the other side of the T-Con box. Next up is connecting the T-Con box to the signage box. Check the 12-digit serial numbers of the T-Con box to the signage box. Connect the HDMI cable, the 16-22-pin power cable, and the AC power cord on the back of the signage box in that order. Lastly, plug the IR sensor and press the power button on the remote control to turn on the module. Nothing wrong on the screen of the module? Great! Always keep in mind that the module must be checked for any defect before installation. Now, the installation begins. Disconnect the cables from the T-Con box and the signage box that were connected for testing the module. Then put the OLED module on top of the jig with the module's front facing the floor. First, assemble the left and right side frames, and then insert the top and bottom frames to fit the curvature of the panel. Make sure to press the panel with one hand and insert the frame with the other hand correctly. Insert the corner fixer in each corner with a flat 6mm M3 screw. Fix the center of the frame with 4 M3 4.5mm screws. Make sure that all other holes of the frame are secured with M3 4.5mm screws. This is 2 rigid bars to maintain strict curvature of the module. Put 2 rigid bars to fit the PEM nut in the middle of the back of the module, as well as the screw holes on the edge. Tighten 4 M4 8mm screws in the 4 PEM nut holes. And tighten the rigid bar with 4 M3 8mm screws on the corners. So far, we have assembled the module with the frame. Now it's time to connect the OLED module to the T-Con box. Connect the FFC cables to the back of the OLED module. This is the second time after the module inspection, so it should be easier. Put the center bar carefully to prevent damage to the FFC cables, and fix them with 4 M4 12mm screws. Assemble 2 T-Con box brackets on both sides of the T-Con box with 4 M3 5.5mm screws. Tighten the brackets and the center bar with 4 M3 5.5mm screws. The opposite ends of the FFC cables coming from the module go to the T-Con box. In order to protect the FFC cables, assemble the T-Con box cover and fix with an M3 5.5mm screw. Next is installing the signage box. Attach 2 signage box brackets to both sides of the signage box and fix them with 4 M3 5.5mm screws. Attach the signage box to the center bar next to the T-Con box and fasten it with 4 M3 5.5mm screws. Let's use cable to connect the signage box to the T-Con box. Insert the HDMI cable and 16-22-pin power cable into the T-Con box. Put the T-Con box cable cover on top of the 16-22-pin power cable to prevent cable separation, and tighten 2 M3 5.5mm screws on the holes on the sides. Insert the HDMI cable and 16-22-pin power cable on the other side of the signage box. Use an M3 5.5mm screw to fix the 16-22-pin power cable. Fix the signage box cover with M3 5.5mm screws. And fix the module at the stand frame. The brackets and frames for mounting the signage need to be prepared separately for actual installation environment. Connect the IR sensor to the signage box, and the installation of the fixed open-frame OLED signage is complete. Wow, isn't it really simple? Great! Lastly, let me tell you how to set up multiple open-frame OLED units in tile patterns. We will put the two modules side by side, which are complete with the T-con and the signage box. Check if the two modules are on the same level and whether there is any gap. There are 8 holes where the two modules come into contact. Apply 4 module fixers to the holes and fix them with M3 4.5mm screws. This is how you connect multiple modules to set up a beautiful OLED structure. Piece of cake, isn't it? So far, we've learned how to install the fixed open-frame OLED signage. Thanks to the great flexibility in design, open-frame signage can be installed in diverse environments such as corporate buildings, department stores, theme parks, and all those sorts of places, easily capturing the attention of passersby by being works of art themselves. The signage you choose has the power to move hearts and minds. LG OLED signage.